In the unforgiving expanse of the Canadian wilderness, nestled amidst the towering pine trees and under the icy breath of the wind, resided a solitary Indian woman named Tami. A recluse by choice, she lived within the confines of a humble wooden shed, her only companions being a small flock of chickens. Her days slipped away in tranquil monotony, filled with the simple tasks of caring for her chickens, gathering firewood, and foraging for sustenance. However, when the sun bowed down to the moon and darkness draped itself over her humble dwelling, an entirely different narrative unfolded. One particular night, devoid of moonlight, Tami found herself jolted awake by an unsettling scratching sound at her door. Initially, she dismissed it as the playful antics of the wind or a wandering creature of the night. But as the scratching persisted, growing more frantic and insistent, her dismissals wavered. Hesitant yet determined, Tami armed herself with her trusty lantern and inched towards the door. As she peered through the narrow crack, her heart stuttered at the sight of a shadowy figure standing ominously in the darkness, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. "Who's there?" Tami managed to choke out, her voice a mere whisper against the deafening silence. But the only response she received was the chilling sound of heavy breathing and the disconcerting rustle of leaves. Gathering her waning courage, she threw open the door, only to be met with the vacant darkness of the forest, her tiny sanctuary swallowed whole by the ominous shadows. With the mysterious figure nowhere in sight, Tami retreated inside, bolting the door behind her. She tried to convince herself that it was nothing more than a figment of her imagination. But the gut-wrenching dread gnawing at her insides told a different story. As the hours ticked by, the atmosphere grew thick with an impending sense of doom. Even the chickens, usually unperturbed by the nocturnal happenings, began clucking anxiously, as though forewarning Tami of the danger lurking close by. Suddenly, the scratching returned, louder and more desperate than before. Tami's heart pounded against her ribs as she huddled in the corner, her lantern clutched tightly in her shaking hands. Then, with a deafening crash, the door burst open, and a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence of the night. Tami's lantern flickered and died, plunging her world into an abyss of darkness. In the suffocating silence, all that Tami could hear was the thunderous beating of her own heart. Then, from the menacing shadows, a pair of luminescent eyes emerged, staring at her with a malevolent intent. A surge of primal fear propelled Tami to her feet. She lunged for the door, but it was too late. Something cold and monstrous gripped her from behind, dragging her into the darkness of the forest. Come morning, a chilling tableau awaited discovery. A trail of bloodstains leading into the woods bore silent testimony to Tami's disappearance. Back in the shed, her chickens clucked mournfully, their caws echoing the somber mood of their deserted home. Today, the legend of Tami persists, a chilling tale whispered among those brave enough to venture into the Canadian wilderness. They say her spirit still roams these woods, trapped in limbo, haunting her abandoned shed and sending shivers down the spines of those who dare to venture too close.